Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this month's GatherUp webinar. We're excited to talk to you about how you can drive revenue with a proven review response strategy. First of all, I want to thank a couple of our contributors to this month's webinar. Alex Garcia, the Director of Branding at Clean Juice. Clean Juice is a juice company, juice bar franchise with over 135 locations. Alex actually started working at the store level, and he also led the guest experience team, and he currently leads the social posting and celebrity campaign function for Clean Juice. Another contributor to this month's webinar was Jan Wenzel. She's the reviews director at Lift Marketing Group, with whom she's been with since 2014. Lift Marketing presents the best value for towers looking to increase customer calls. So Lift Marketing focuses industry specific on the towing industry. So thanks to Alex and Jan for joining us in this month's webinar and for providing the content within the slides. My name is Steve Hartman. I'm the product marketing manager for GatherUp. I've been with the company for 4 years, including 2 in a sales role where I got to talk to customers like you about your needs and how GatherUp can help solve them. So if you aren't familiar with GatherUp, we are one platform that helps businesses and agencies gather, engage with, and share customer feedback at every step of the buyer journey to create a great customer experience that attracts and retains customers. Today's agenda on this webinar is we're going to provide tips on how best to manage responding to reviews. First of all, we'll talk about why that's so critical to businesses, and of course, how and when to respond, the tips and tools and templates that we have available to us, as well as things that are out there on the web. And then lastly, we'll talk about setting expectations and measurement of responding to reviews. So let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about why responding is so important. There's a great study done by Miriam Ellis. She did a survey at Moz. If you go to moz.com/local business reviews survey, you can find that. It's tremendously valuable, both on the writing reviews, who reads reviews, but also, as we're going to focus on today, responding to reviews. So as you can see in the slide here, 90% of consumers are influenced to a moderate or extreme degree by responses. That is a massive number. And over half will definitely seek out a business that writes customized reviews. And another stat here from G2 is 89% of consumers read replies. So as you can tell, it's very important. Not only do people read them, they value the responses. Now, one of the major components to a brand's online reputation is building trust, and that's also why review responses matter. Businesses that respond to reviews are 1.7 times more trustworthy than those who don't. It's not enough just to get reviews anymore. Consumers are looking at businesses and how they respond to create their own idea if that business is trustworthy or not. Now, another part of it is responding well, right? Like responding alone isn't enough. You have to respond well. And a study done by the Harvard Business Review looked at hotel reviews and their responses just on TripAdvisor. And what they noticed was that there was a 12% increase in new reviews when an owner responds, and an average increase of 0.12 stars when an owner responds. Now, that 0.12 may not seem like a lot, but on TripAdvisor, their ratings are rounded up and down at so at 4.2, you're actually showing as a 4, but if you get to a 4.25, now you become a 4.3. So a big difference there. And so that increase is really dramatic on TripAdvisor. Now, looking more closely at some of the data that we have at GatherUp, we partnered with Clean Juice to look at their NPS scores and their response rates by location. And what we found was that 47% higher first-party review response rate was correlated to the highest Net Promoter Score ranking. Now, if you're not familiar with Net Promoter Score, we have a great blog post about it, a simple guide to Net Promoter Score. It's gatherup.com/blog, and then search for Net Promoter Score. But Net Promoter Score is a 0 to 10 ranking. how likely is it that you'd refer your business to a friend or colleague? And then what we do is 0 to 6 are what's called detractors, 7s and 8s are passives, and 9s and 10s are promoters, and you want those promoters. And the score is actually calculated using the promoters, the percentage of promoters minus the percentage of detractors. So again, Clean Juice is showing that those with a 71 or higher NPS actually have a 47% higher response rate to first-party reviews and a 25% higher third-party review response rate. Third-party reviews being the Google, Facebook, things like that. Now, Jan Wenzel at Lift Marketing Group provided the next couple slides, and what she's focused on here is the impact on the local pack. So, when you think about a consumer searching for your business, especially on maps, there's going to be the local pack with the 3 businesses shown, their review ratings, some information about them. But really what happens next, right, is somebody clicks in. So you're going to click into one of these businesses that are shown in the local pack. And we see a company actually that has fewer reviews on top of the local pack, but the customer dives in and wants to do some more exploration on that business, and they go into the reviews, and what do they see? They see a lot of responses. They see every review gets a response from this business, and that matters. Not so much in the ranking, but it matters to the conversion. So the consumer is more likely to convert when they see review responses being done by the business. Here's another example. Now, this one's a negative review. Juan's Wrecker Service has actually fewer reviews, but still shows at the top of the pack. Many customers, I'm sure not unlike many of you, will filter by the lowest ratings. I want to see what, when people are unhappy, what do they say and why, and how does the business respond? So by responding to these reviews, the business gets to tell their story. They get to control that narrative a little bit and explain or apologize for any negative experiences. And that can often guide a consumer looking to use this service or purchase from your business. Another thing we want to consider here is the future, right? So we have robots, we have AI, we're missing the flying cars, but what's next in terms of review responses and how that appears within a search? As most of you probably know, a lot of the search engines now are starting to use AI and ChatGPT. If you're using Bing, this is an example that Jan pulled from Google's Bard program. So what you see here is not only is the prompt saying I am looking for towing companies with this number of reviews and an average of this or better, but also owners who respond. And so Bard was able to pull that out, and it says things like the business owner, John, responds to reviews frequently and promptly. Now that may matter a lot to consumers, especially those in a towing service, right? Like I need to know who cares and who's actually going to take care of me. So things like this can be coming down in the near future. So just keep an eye on that and just understand that ultimately a response impacts the business's revenue because it shows they care. It shows consumers that this business owner is willing to respond to your feedback. So we've established that responding to reviews is important for visibility and trust and building your presence in the local pack. But the name of our webinar today is about how it drives revenue. And so what we're looking at here is a couple of stats, also from Moz, where 62% of people would give a company a second chance if the owner's response resolved the problem. Almost 2/3 of people would go back after having a bad experience if the owner's response solved the problem. So that's impacting revenue right there, right? Like that's a chance to win back a customer. Over 2/3 of negative reviewers had an improved opinion of the brand, and an improved opinion of that brand, correlates to, more revenue down the road. Alex at Clean Juice actually had a great story about going above and beyond to help a customer who gave a poor review. He hand delivered the items, he offered a refund, he got on the phone with them personally, and that customer was so grateful that they changed their review to a glowing positive one and came back to the store. So as you can tell, I mean, a good response, a personalized response, showing that you care and listening to that customer can change their mind and builds brand equity, and obviously brings in more revenue. So why respond? Solving a problem, delighting a customer. If they're already happy, just thanking them and appreciating that they took the time to leave a review can delight them. Potential customers are reading these responses. Many customers read them. Many customers are influenced by them. Responses help businesses generate more revenue, and they can impact conversions. So we've established now it's important, I hope. But now let's talk about how and when to respond to reviews. The Moz study had a great survey question around how soon do you expect a business to respond to your review? And 60% said they expect it within 2 days. Personally, I think that's a little bit late for most businesses. It can be, it works for others, but 64% expect a response to negative reviews, 40% expect a response even with a positive review. So that's telling. So when to respond, 60% expect that within 2 days. Jan had mentioned that Lyft Marketing advises their towing clients to respond within 3 days. But I've talked to plenty of company owners, business owners, GMs who, have review responses as part of their normal process. So they come in the morning, they turn on the lights, they're answering reviews. Like that's just part of their day. It's part of their daily routine. So I think responding as soon as possible will stand out in this space. If a review comes in same day and you can get a response out, hey, more power to you, because that's going to stand out to readers. But make sure you set aside that time, primarily, within that 2-day window, 2 or 3 day window, and then prioritize responses based on importance. Obviously, negative responses or negative reviews are a top priority, but don't forget about those positive ones. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is how not to respond. More than half of customers will avoid businesses who fail in offering a solution. If you're a business owner and you're responding and you accuse the customer of lying, a third of the customers who are looking at that will avoid doing business with you. And then nearly half will definitely avoid a business when the owner argues with customers. So, make sure that you offer a solution, keep your accusations in check, and avoid arguing at all costs. I mean, we've all seen this happen. A business owner takes negative feedback about the business personally because to them it is personal. They put in a lot of time, sweat, tears, hard work crafting a good business, and one bad review they think can derail that business. However, it's important to take a breath and craft a good, thoughtful response to any negative review. So, how to respond? Listen. Our mantra is that listening is a business superpower. So if you listen, let the customer be heard. A lot of times that's what they want. They want a voice and they want to be heard. They don't even necessarily want a refund or you to fix anything. They just want to voice their frustration. Take a minute, never respond in anger or frustration. As we found in the previous slide, don't get into an argument with the customers on a review response. Be thoughtful and solve the problem. Resolution is important here. And then the other thing is provide outlets to continue that conversation if necessary. If you do want to consider offering a refund, you don't want to make that public, that someone just has to leave a bad review and they'll get something for free. So say, hey, we're really sorry, but let's take this offline. You can email me here. You can give me a call here, but provide those outlets to take that conversation offline. When it comes to positive reviews, I think it's important to show some personality, show your business's brand and have fun with it and thank them in a fun way. Alex at Clean Juice offered some unique ideas around solving the problem, including verifying the customer's validity. So sometimes negative reviews might come from people who haven't actually visited your store, which of course you can bring those to Google if it's a Google review and ask to be taken down. But you want to check their validity, check their order, check their history, and do some investigation on what took place. And then, if warranted, refunds, rewards are added or response as to why no action would be taken. So I grabbed a couple of examples close to me where I live, and I wanted to share them because I thought they were really poignant. So this one is a positive review response. It does show that personality. So this is a pest control company who came out. Somebody just wanted them to move a bee's nest away to protect their pet, and but they didn't want it to be harmed or removed or anything like that. So the pest control company responds with, awesome, how incredible is that? We're glad to hear that no one got stung with the transfer. When the stars and planets line up, it is great to hear all worked out for everyone. When servicing homes for wasps and yellow jackets, we are very mindful of our pollinators. So a little bit of personality there, right? Like they're environmentally conscious. You know, the stars align. So it's kind of like a fun response to this review. And I thought they did it really well. On the other hand, a negative response, this is a response to a kind of a 50s style drive-in diner near me. And I thought the response here is excellent. The review was quite long. They got a little aggressive, a little bit rude, I think, with their review. They kind of called out the community and the type of people that they think live here and things like that. But the response was great. They offer a solution. They addressed the attack, the personal attack, but they didn't dwell on it. They went right from, hey, we're not sure what prompted this personal attack on us in the community. That said, we want to apologize because you didn't have a great experience. And then they offer ways for them to come in, see the products they offer, see how they run things day to day, so that they offer that personal experience to this customer. And I thought it was a great way to of staying positive amongst a very negative review. Now, one question that comes up a lot is, how do you respond to a review that's not overly positive or negative, kind of middle of the road, like a 3-star review? They're kind of happy, not so happy. And we do at GatherUp offer a few templates for what we call neutral reviews, and that's within our review reply templates. But the most important thing to call out in a review like that is that, make sure you mention what they say that's positive, and mention and address anything that they mention that's negative, and then ask what you could do better. Even say things like, what could we have done to make this a 5-star review? There might be just a couple tweaks. They're not really that upset. So just remember that feedback is most powerful when it's used to create a better business and a better customer experience. So to recap when and how to respond, at minimum, within 2 days, depending on your business, depending on your review volume. If you have many reviews, it might take you longer, but prioritize and operationalize that process, right? So make it part of your day. Listen, be thoughtful. I always tell people, respond as if the customer were in person. If they were standing in front of you, how would you react and how would you address the situation? And then, of course, provide that resolution, whatever that resolution may be. Even if it's a disgruntled employee leaving you a review on Indeed, you can provide some resolution there by saying, we're sorry it didn't work out. We're sorry you weren't happy with your experience here. We do have some resources available for you to help you in that next role or something like that. So pro tip, it's never too late to respond to a review. All right. So even if it's from 3 years ago and you never got to it, trust me, the customer will appreciate you responding, even if it's that late. So it doesn't hurt. Take a stab at responding to all those reviews. All right, so templates and tools. Now we have a few things here to share with you, but I think it's important to remember that templates should be built with your business in mind. All right, so build your own if you can, if you have time, if you have a team that can help you, great. Positive and negative reviews, templates are helpful. Don't forget those ratings only. So if they just leave you a 5-star review with no content, what are you going to say to them? You might have some sort of a response, but try not to do a canned response every time. Try to personalize it with even their name. So thanks, John, for your 5-star review. Include a name, email, and phone number for negative reviews. That's that reach out, right? Like, let's take it offline. You can contact me here. Use your responses as an opportunity to showcase your brand to customers and potential customers, right? So your templates and tools should have some reflection of who you are as a company, whether that's very professional if you're a law firm, very fun if you're a juice bar, right? So things like that. And then don't forget that most tools, GatherUp included, allow for review response templates. I know both Jan and Alex use our templates and use some of our tools to help respond to reviews. So let's take a look at a positive review response template example. You might have things like, dear customer name, it was a pleasure serving you. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your feedback and being so open with us. I'm glad you felt, and this is where you'd include some review detail, the thing that they mentioned that they were happy with, right? That personalize it, that reiterates it. It shows people reading that review response that you're listening to that customer. On a negative review response, you might include something like this, maybe call out who you are, your title, how you work at the business, and then again, please give me a call or send an email to this email address. I'd like the chance to discuss your experience so I can offer a resolution, right? Offering that solution, taking it offline for a negative review. This is a great opportunity to use AI. If you're starting to dabble in that, and you don't know really how to use it. Replying to reviews can be tedious. It can take time. And it can often be like, what do I say? Like, I don't want to sound repetitive, right? So using the AI actually can personalize it every time without sounding canned. We use it within our feature called SmartReply. So what we found, we did some internal testing, looking at reviews, and we did control some things and look at editing them, changing them, leaving them as is. So there was some variables in there. And what we found is we reduced the response time per review from 51 seconds to 17 seconds. Now within SmartReply, with our review reply process, you can respond to 100 reviews in approximately 30 minutes. Tremendous time saving when you employ AI and SmartReply. One caveat, edit and review it before submitting. AI is not perfect. So make sure that you are reading that response before you submit it and put it out there, because you don't want a poor experience or to come across like you weren't listening, right? So make sure that you edit that and review it before submitting that response. Here's an example of what this looks like within GatherUp. And then we have a short video here as well that we can watch to show you what that review response looks like. So you click SmartReply, it generates the response quickly. And then I can either review and edit it, or I can just click submit. So very quick, very easy, but a great use of AI to help in your review responses. All right, so now let's talk about setting expectations and measurement, because I think this is an important part of the process. We talked about the process earlier and operations and having this be part of your day, but like you really need to know how well you're doing, especially if you have multiple locations or multiple clients. It's important to kind of gauge who's responding and who's not. And we got to make sure that we live up to our expectations, right? So I like this. I thought this cartoon was pretty clever and funny. This is me. This is who I am as a business owner. This is my response. And then sometimes we don't live up to those expectations that people might have, of course. But how can you set expectations and measure your response times? So response time is one of them. Clean Juice, Alex noted, expects their franchise partners to respond to reviews within 48 hours. Jan noted that her agency tells their clients, the towing service clients, 3 days. So, set that goal, whatever it is, and then focus on that. If you only get a handful per day, try to get through all of them. Respond to every single one. If you're getting 5 a day, that's pretty easy to get through five responses a day. But realistic goals are important here. So review response rate is another one. So, we might say, hey, 100% of all negative reviews need a response, but for positive, maybe we don't need all of them. Again, high volume, maybe you don't need to respond to every positive review, but set a goal. Maybe it's 50%, maybe it's 75% of all positive reviews we respond to. And then again, like I mentioned, keep in mind the number of reviews that are generated so you can set realistic goals for response rates and response times. One easy way to do this for, if you have multiple locations or if you're an agency that has multiple clients, is graph these out. What's our response rate? And then where's our goal? Okay, our goal is 60%. For all reviews, we have 4 locations meeting that number. We need to talk to these other ones, especially those that have 0 responses, right? So just simple, keep it simple. And then this helps you dive in and investigate further. Why aren't these locations responding? Could be time, could be a poor process, could be, something else, right? And then once you have that data, what are you going to do with it, right? Like, you got to take action. So let's take some action on this data. Again, let's address operational processes. Let's address the people who are in charge of responding. Why aren't they? Is it taking too long? Is it too slow? Is there some other issue? Is that person out sick? Did we not know that? So work with your staff and your teams on that, creating that process. This also helps you share successes and reward high-performing teams. I like to gamify this when possible. So you can call out that location, or you can say, hey, client A is responding at 85%, and they've seen their call volume increase X amount. Like, let's get on that train and start responding to reviews. One thing I think Alex pointed out from Clean Juice to me was that, respond with action, and they become little private investigators, he called them. So they'll dive in and they'll go through all of this when they see certain locations not responding, because it is important to them. And they have shown that they have seen an increase with successful locations that are responding. So to recap the entire webinar and everything we've gone through today, it's important to have this review response strategy. We talked about why at the beginning. The customers are influenced. It can impact your bottom line when you leave responses to reviews and when you talk to customers. So respond quickly and thoughtfully. Create a strong process around it so that you're not doing this one-off and having oh, I forgot to do that. Make sure that there's a process involved. Use templates and AI to help you be more efficient. And then set expectations, measure, and then go back and learn and take what you've learned and apply it. So I thought this quote here from Alex was great. This is kind of a great summary to finish it off. Is about 10% of the Clean Juice system is responsive. And from our corporate perspective, we have seen how the less responsive locations suffer from it. So I hope you've gotten some great information out of this webinar. We're going to send out the slides to those who attended and registered. So make sure next time, if you didn't get the slides, you register and attend. But I want to thank, of course, Alex from Clean Juice, Jan Wenzel from Lift Marketing Group for supplying some content for us. And then if you have a chance, scan that QR code or click that link for our Review Replies e-guide. That'll help you with a lot of the information that we talked about today. And we thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And stay tuned for the next GatherUp webinar.